Hi friends. So I'm sorry for the delay. Thank you for waiting, all those of you who were. There was a little technical glitch. We've hopefully sorted it out. I'm Dr. Shaista Faruqi Kazi. I'm a dermatologist, a trichologist, and a cosmetologist. So just yesterday we were talking online about all the problems in baby skin, kid skin, and we had so many people interested in that. And we thought that why not have something similar for those of us who are most neglected but should be most appreciated. Yes, the moms. So, as new moms, what happens is we are so busy living the best role of our lives, that sometimes we forget that to continue being the best versions of ourselves, it's extremely important for us to look after ourselves. So let's start looking after ourselves right in the beginning so that we can maintain ourselves and actually give the best to our and to ourselves. Okay, so let's start right in the beginning. When do you become a mother? So when you get pregnant, there are a lot of issues which can plague a woman during her pregnancy. And at that time, there's already so much stress that you may not concentrate on it, or it may be really bothering you. So, we would like to say that you should start looking after your skin right in the first trimester. That's the key. The few changes that you might notice, some of you all might start breaking out into pimples and get acne, while others might be lucky and have the pregnancy glow. The pregnancy glow, for those of you who are lucky and have it, is because the blood circulation is increased, and also because of the hormones working in your favor. But if the hormones don't work in your favor, they can actually cause the sebaceous glands to grow, more sebum or oil to be produced, and you to break out into terrible acne. And the problem is that we can do very little for that acne during your pregnancy. So then we need to wait. But one good thing is that it is reversible, so it's not going to last. It's going to be there for a while and then just fade out. The other issue that many of us face during our pregnancy is unwanted pigmentation and hair. So while the hair on your head becomes really good, you have luscious locks and you feel, oh my god, I should be pregnant forever, it's suiting me. There are other issues which happen along with it. Like you become hairy on your hands, legs, the rest of your body where you never had any hair. Don't worry, it's temporary, it will go off. It's of course not pleasant looking at that time, but it won't last. Pigmentation. So the nipples, which were pink, become brown. The areolas become really big. There is pigmentation below the belly button stretching all the way down called linea nigra. Besides that, you might have black spots all over your back, over the buttocks. Basically not something we all like to remember. Also stretch marks, yes. Stretch marks can happen even when you just put on weight or lose weight, even without being pregnant. So when you actually are pregnant, stretch marks can create havoc. They can spread from the breast to the thighs, buttocks, and of course on your ever-growing tummy. So now what can we do about stretch marks? So we'll not say a lie. Stretch marks do have a genetic predisposition. So while you may have a lot of stretch marks, your sister-in-law may have none. And there's nothing that we can do about it. But this is also something like prayers. Though our destiny is already written, we still pray because we don't know what we are destined for. Same way, we don't know if we are going to get stretch marks or not. So we need to take the precautions. And we need to start really early. So I know some of my patients who even started as soon as they've got the good news. While for the others, if we've missed that, there's no issue. Let's start by the end of the first trimester. That's good enough. So once we start, what are we going to do? Let's use a good oil. Bio oil is excellent. You can even use cold pressed coconut oil. You can mix some vitamin E capsules in it and cocoa butter. And you can do this once or even twice a day. Badam oil is also very good, the Kachi Gani badam oil. So you can massage the areas which are prone or where you've started seeing the stretch marks appearing once or twice a day. I must warn you, you may still get the stretch marks, but they might be lesser in severity and color than they would have been if you had not taken the precautions. Also, if they are reddish black or reddish brown, they will go. It's the white ones which are very resistant to treatment. Once I go into postpartum, I'll also tell you what we can do for the stretch marks that have come in. The other pigmentation that I mentioned on the back and the rest of the body, that does fade after pregnancy. Now when we come to the last trimester of your pregnancy, that is the time some of us get severe itching. That could also be because there is more bile produced by the body. There is a condition called as PUPS, which is plaques and purpura and urticarial plaques of pregnancy. This is a distressing condition. You feel like itching and scratching your whole body. You can't sleep, and it just adds to all the other symptoms we have during pregnancy. And the good part is that as soon as your baby comes out, it will all disappear magically. But the not so good part is that this could take even a month. And as of now, you feel even one night is not passing. All we can do is give you symptomatic relief. You can apply cold Caladryl lotion, cold aloe vera gel, take the antihistaminics which are safe in pregnancy. Ask your dermatologist. We are more than happy to help. We understand just what you're facing at that time. So now for those who are already moms, your baby's come, your life has changed, and it's all about that little one ruling over you. Are we going to forget about ourselves? No, please don't. So what are we going to do? First thing, continue your supplements, especially if you're breastfeeding, because not only the internal body, your skin needs them too. Besides that, now what you'll see is in the next 3 months, the postpartum changes will slowly start kicking in. So what happens is the hormones, there's a havoc in your hormones, and along with that, lot of changes happen. The pregnancy glow starts fading, and you start losing hair. So there is a old age myth which says that as your child starts giggling, the mother starts losing hair. While I would tell you, please let's not associate our baby's giggles with anything rather than happiness, it is true in a way that matching that milestones, your hair fall starts. So what we need to do is, at that point, we need to hang in and understand that this is reversible. You will get all your hair back. So please don't stress about that at all. But of course, it might take months. So how this works is, during your pregnancy, when you are pregnant, that time the hormones are causing all your hair to be in an anagen or growth phase. That's why you have those luscious black velvety locks. But after that, all the hair suddenly goes all together in the telogen and catagen phase and starts shedding. You'll have hair on your pillow, all over your shower, all over the house. Some of my patients even say that... Hi, I'm sorry, there was a network issue again. I'm just waiting for some of the people to get back, and then I will continue with my talk. So if any of y'all have any questions also, you all can just leave them down. I'll be more than happy to answer them as the session progresses. I'm just trying to basically give you all a gist of all the changes that go on in a woman's body during her pregnancy, postpartum, and some easy ways to deal with it. Of course, there is no substitute for a dermatologist visit, and we can help you much more if we individually know what you're facing and give you a personal regime to help you with skin, hair, all of that. What I'm doing today is just throwing some light to make you know that you're not alone and we are all in this together. So I think we were talking about hair fall, so maybe I'll continue. Yeah, so basically what happens is during our pregnancy, most of our hair is in the anagen or the growth phase, and that's why you have most luscious locks. But afterwards, after postpartum, after around 3 months, most of the hair goes into the catagen telogen phase. It starts falling off. There's very little hair at the time in the growth phase. So what happens is you have abundant hair fall. As I was saying, some of my patients even say that it feels like cancer patients post therapy, the way they're losing hair, we're losing hair like that, and we feel we'll go bald. You won't go bald. Nobody does. But you'll also get your hair back. But I know it's also distressing, and you're also at an all-time low in confidence at that time because your body is recouping, your skin is acting up. So there are things we can do at home. what we can do is we can start having amla. Amla is very good for our hair. Amla powder can be mixed in yogurt, it can be mixed in honey, it can also be had with water. If you drink milk, you get protein powders which are very good for hair. You can start having those. These are small home remedies we can do. Biotin is an excellent supplement. Choose a tablet with at least 10 mg biotin in it. Add that. If you're a non-vegetarian, eat a lot of fish, which has the good omega fatty acids, the good oils, not prawns, fish. Also, eat a lot of almonds and walnuts in your diet. Also, at a later stage, if your hair fall doesn't stop. So it's like this should go on anywhere for 3 to 6 months. Then you should have a stop in the hair fall and slowly start getting your hair back. But if that doesn't happen, then at that stage we would like to check we would like to do a blood test. We would like to check your levels, vitamin B12, D3, iron, check your hemoglobin, find out if there are any deficiencies involved in this, if that's the reason why you're losing so much hair. But that's at a later stage. Mostly you'll tide over. There are some good oils you can use. One of my friends, she makes these oils at home. Love Thy Strands. Excellent. So she's got everything in the oils. Coconut oil, castor oil, curry leaves, neem leaves. So I give that to my patients. You could even make it at home. Cold pressed coconut oil. Put a little castor oil. Don't put the oil for too long. You'll have more hair fall because you'll use more shampoo to remove it. Also, it clogs the pores, so that works negatively. Just put the oil, maybe an hour, and then massage it nicely to increase the blood circulation in the scalp and wash off. Somebody's asked for a good hair care regime. So maybe I can answer that question in the middle and then continue. So what we need to do for our hair, especially during that time, postpartum, where we already got lots of stuff happening, let's wash our hair only twice a week, not more, because most of us are not going out too much right in the beginning days. So we don't want to dry out the hair too much. Use a good shampoo, sulfate free, paraben free, very mild on the hair. So the Biotop Professional is a very good range. Olaplex has got some amazing shampoos. You could also use the baby shampoos, the Mustela 2-in-1, very mild on the hair and scalp. So unless you're like going out and you need a shampoo, conditioner, dry, something as mild as that also works wonderfully. There are some packs you can make at home with aloe vera, cinnamon, honey, or even egg or curd. All this is just like an adjunct. Your hair fall is not going to stop, but we can reduce it so that you can get all your hair back much faster once this phase is over. Coming to the other changes. So now you'll start breaking out. Most people suffer from postpartum acne. The pregnancy glow is gone. There's a lot of acne. So you must know that there are lots more medications that we can avail during breastfeeding than we could in pregnancy. There are some peels also which we can now do. So you please contact your dermatologist for this. Benzoyl peroxide is safe, so a wash like a Bravoxyl creamy wash is a safe option. Certain antibiotics are also safe, but you need to speak to your dermat. We can control this. You don't need to live with that acne even for a little longer. Because the thing is that it's not only about whether it is temporary or permanent. It's also about going through those days, suffering from it at that time. Coming to the stretch marks. Now for those of y'all whose stretch marks have set in and we couldn't control them, we need to now see what color they are. Are they reddish or have they turned white? If they have turned white, it's really difficult to treat them. If they're still reddish, the oils, the creams will still work. So I give a scar control cream like a cicatrix cream to mix with the bio oil generally to my patients, and it really helps, but it won't go away. At a later stage, maybe post breastfeeding, you can come in. We have lovely treatments. We have the microneedling RF. We have the fractional CO2 lasers. All these work and can reduce your stretch marks 75 to 80%. And then you can easily cover them up. Because sometimes you're at the stomach area, you want to wear a sari or a short top, and it really comes in the way. Of course, some people say they are our kids' first drawings, but I'm sure we can make them draw on paper and frame it up. We don't need it on our body. So don't shy away from trying to be the best yourself, and whatever you want, don't feel guilty. It's okay if you don't want to live with those stretch marks. Luckily, our kids give us a lot more things to remember them by. So we dealt with the stretch marks. Another thing, there is a misconception that lasers are not okay while breastfeeding. So I have a specialization with Dr. Nikon in Thailand after my MD. He is now been termed as the father of dermatosurgery all over Thailand. He says it's a myth, and it's even a myth that during pregnancy lasers are harmful. So he even does the laser treatments for his patients during pregnancy. While I wouldn't treat my pregnant patients just out of extra caution because it's better to avoid caution, breastfeeding moms, you can do your lasers. So even laser hair removal for all the unwanted hair that's collected over the months, or anything else you'd like to do laser for, please come in. There's no issue at all. So another thing for mothers, because most of us, even the ones who are bottle feeding, we have to get up again and again. The diaper changes. Of course, daddies are helping. I hope all the daddies are helping. But even then, a mom is a mom. She's a primary caregiver. She cannot sleep. So you're going to get dark circles, big ones. We've already got some of them Netflix through pregnancy and now through all this. So what do? We can't use anything very strong because yes, we are still breastfeeding. So I would stay away from the retinols. Let's use something simple like vitamin C. Vitamin C works wonderfully when used in the correct doses. A vitamin C active serum. You can use it in round outward motion, because what happens when you do this, you move it out. So I'll tell you, dark circles have many reasons. It's not that all of us might have dark circles because of the same cause, just lack of sleep. For some of us, it's genetic. And though we are genetically predisposed since a long time, the dark circles might first creep up during this time. Another thing is if we have a habit of scrubbing our eyes, because we are causing the microcapillaries around our eyes to break, and all the clots are collecting and giving it a shadowy appearance around the eyes. That's one thing. Lack of sleep is another. Also, kajal, eyeliner. Some of us put a little makeup even during the first postpartum months. It makes us feel nice. Some of us have already resumed work. But do we remove the makeup before sleeping at night? It's essential. So see, what I tell my patients is if you don't have time for a skincare regime twice a day, don't do it in the morning, but do it at night. Because you need to remove all your makeup. Otherwise, this kajal, the liner pencil, will cause micro tattooing below the eyes. In turn, slowly cause darker, deeper dark circles. So please take out your makeup. Try to get sleep. It's difficult, but we have to say it. If you can't get it now, as soon as it's possible, try to place out the feeds 3 hourly. Let someone else change the diaper in the middle. So at least if you get 6 hours of constant sleep, that will make a great difference. The vitamin C that I mentioned, that also works well. Try to improve your diet. Add vitamin K rich foods like kale, kiwi, tomatoes, prunes, figs. Add all this. Vitamin C, you can take it orally. You get amazing disposable tablets, normal tablets. Add it to your diet. Oranges, lemons, all that, all sorts of, because diet is the best. Whatever we add in the form of drugs or supplements, if we can actually supplement our diet, nothing like it. That's the best. So dark circles is another thing that postpartum lots of us face. So I would like to discuss a basic regime even for skincare. So what happens at this time? We are really pressed for time and we don't know what to do. So less is more. But let's be consistent. The key is that we need to be completely consistent with what we are doing. We need to use sunscreen even if we are at home. Most of us have LED lights at home. That damage is going to be equivalent to the damage of the sun. Some of us are still cooking. If nothing, you might be just heating milk or food for your baby, for your child. So even the stove, the gas, it gives us radiations. And there are so many other, the phone, the laptop, all that, the television if you're sitting too close. So you need a good sunscreen. If you're acne prone, then you need a gel based sunscreen. If not, you can use any rich lotion one with a tint. The tint will also make you look good. So if you're doing any calls, if you're stepping out and you don't want to put makeup, you're sorted. Cleansing your face. So cleansing your face, use a mild cleanser right now, because especially if you're pregnant, we don't want you to use glycolic, salicylic, none of them. Post pregnancy, a little glycolic won't hurt, but if you still use just a plain cleanser, we are in a better place. You can use a chemical scrub once a week in the form of glycolic acid, because it's not shown to cause any issues to lactating women. Again, for scrubs, I don't recommend any physical scrub, especially for our Indian skin, because it causes microabrasions which heal with pigmentation, and also scrubbing the skin actually activates the melanocytes, the pigment forming cells, to produce more melatonin. So there's more melanin produced, and as a result you can get pigmentation. So I will not recommend that. But we can use a normal cleanser twice a day, a sunscreen in the morning, and at night to your moisturizer add an active ingredient. So either vitamin C serum or a hyaluronic acid serum. You can even alternate between them. What we need to understand is that most of us are now in our 30s, some in their late 20s, some in their early 30s, late 30s. So now is a time where even anti-aging becomes essential. We need to start our anti-aging regime now so that we catch the train before it leaves the station. So if we start using one active ingredient now at night, that will help us to go a long way. So maybe we can alternate between a vitamin C and we can use a hyaluronic the other night along with a good moisturizer. So for a moisturizer, again, if you have an oily skin, acne prone skin, go for something very light. It need not be expensive. You can even use something like an Emollient, or just something as basic as that. Or if you're okay, if you have got dry skin, then you can go for Shiseido products. Mom & Co has got lovely face creams, lotions, something rich. La Roche-Posay, one of my favorites. You could use that at night. So, and mix an active ingredient with it, which you would apply after the moisturizer just before bedtime. Leave it on whole night. Massage it around the eyes like I showed you, outward movements. So if there are any broken capillaries, if there's anything, it also moves out. The massage also helps, and so does the serum or the cream that we are using. So that goes for a very basic 2-3 step regime which all of us can follow. I would also add antioxidant tablets along with the vitamin C, so that it can be an internal anti-aging, an internal repair, because our body has gone through a lot, whatever we say, and we need to maintain our skin and give it that little extra boost for it to last through the coming months. It's just going to get more. The roller coaster ride just keeps getting more as we growing older and the children are growing bigger. So if you all would like to ask any more questions, I could open up to question answers. Anshita, if you could pin me the questions if I've missed anything. So somebody's asked about excessive sweating. Yeah, and okay. So excessive sweating. So also again, now we are sitting, we're feeding for long hours, and we don't like powder. So what happens with powder? Because the particles are so small, they can actually clog our pores and not allow our skin to breathe. So it is not good. Instead, what we do is we keep our skin hydrated and moist so we sweat less. Don't have hot baths, have cold baths, not very cold because we don't want even the mother to get a cold. Dry your hair completely again so you don't get a cold and you've not used hot water. Immediately after the bath, you get special oil moisturizers like Moisin oil. You can apply that to your semi-damp body. So it will lock in the moisture and keep you feeling hydrated and fresh. You can also use a deodorant which is not a roll-on, because again we don't want to roll on, the child is feeding, it's very close. And every time before you breastfeed your child, if you use a hot towel and wipe your body, at least the upper body, so that you're not sweating and you're fresh. But no powder again, as it will come really close to the baby who will be in contact with you for a long time. How to get rid of dark circles and wrinkles due to over rubbing of the eye. So what happens is, if you are really rubbing your eyes, first of all, there could be a condition called as dry eyes. We are awake most of the night with such small babies, and to pass our time, we are either reading a book, looking into our phones, or watching the television. All three things are drying out our eyes even further. So I would recommend using teardrops, anything like Refresh, every 2 hours to keep our eyes moist so you don't feel like rubbing them. And if you've already done it, vitamin K, you get lovely products with vitamin K. You can use that one night and vitamin C the other night. Again, in circular motions, rubbed outward. So that will help to treat those dark circles which have come because of this reason. Also, take a break from your screen. Stare at something green every once in a while. You can even dip cotton in milk, cool milk, put it in your eyes, give your eyes a breather. I'm sure there's someone around to look after you. If there isn't, then we can do it ourselves. If we do it for our kids, why can't we do it for ourselves? Yes, sunscreen, as I said, even if you're at home, the LED lights, the cooking, the TV, the phone, you have to use your sunscreen every day. Just the way we brush our teeth every day, whether we're going out or not, we need to use our sunscreen irrespective. So the T-zone, or the zone where the forehead and the nose is oily and rest of the skin is dry. That's really, even the chin is a little oily, and generally you tend to break out also in these regions just before a menstrual cycle or any of those things. So that's very common in Indian skin. So then just be careful when you're applying a product. So maybe we would give you something like azelaic acid, which is again safe. So you would just apply that on the T-zone, and for the rest of the face you would use a moisturizer like Emollient. Of course, it is a little more work, but it works very well to help to bring both the zone, T-zone, as well as the other skin all look equally glowy, shiny, and yet not oily or dry. How to apply the sunscreen. So it takes half an hour for any sunscreen to get activated. So just applying the sunscreen is not going to work. So it's like if you just put the sunscreen and you step out, or you just put it, it takes half an hour for activation, and it works only 2 hourly. So if you remember and reapply, nothing like it. If you're going out, you have to, but even if you're at home or in the office, I would recommend that. How to take care of our skin every day. As I said, no washing your face with soap more than twice a day. Any cleanser, face wash, nothing. Even once a day is fine if you feel you don't need it. Sunscreen, a good moisturizer. Toning, for those of you all who are doing it, it's good, no harm. But even if you don't do it right now, we can pull out a few more years without it. No physical scrubs. You can use a chemical scrub once a week. I'm 10 months postpartum. So there is a mother who is Sharmishta. She's saying she's 10 months postpartum. Her skin is severely dehydrated, extremely sensitive, even if she's having 4 liters of water a day. So 4 liters of water, great, you're doing a great job. If you're actually able to have that much, you need a very good, rich, thick moisturizer. So the La Roche-Posay, if it is still available on Amazon, you can see it has got a special product called Toleriane Rich. So it's a rich, don't take the fluid, take the Toleriane Rich. It's really good. It's thick and it'll really hydrate your skin well. You can even apply a little bit of coconut, cold pressed coconut oil if you don't break out. No, but you do break out as well. So because you are breaking out again, we can't give you oil on your skin. It would be nice in your case to consult a dermatologist, as what is happening to you is you're going to both sides of the spectrum. We would be able to control your acne by giving you something oral, shrinking your sebaceous glands, and at the same time seeing to it that your body doesn't dry up completely in the process. You can add some hyaluronic acid at night. That will also give you good hydration without causing you to break out. So a hyaluronic acid serum for you at night will work really well. Even your sunscreen, you get a gel based one, but do apply it because it also does moisturize the skin. It will help you to feel more hydrated. A body lotion, again, if your skin is very dry, the entire skin, Cetaphil Restora-Derm or Moms & Co lotion, both which we even use in kids, so completely safe, can be used. If your skin is not that dry but you still want a good lotion, then even aloe vera works beautifully. So Sayali is saying that she's getting some pigmentation. So this pigmentation, dear, can be anything. It could be melasma, it could be sun damage. I would have to take a closer look to be able to guide you better. We have a lot of detan creams. We have lovely peels which are absolutely safe, retinol based ones if you're not feeding your child, salicylic, glycolic. We have lasers today, Q-switch, which work remarkably. But I'd have to take a closer look to be able to guide you better, because there are few things in dermatology where it is very important for us to know the diagnosis before we can give the treatment. Yes, some Neha's asked me whether we should use a sunscreen for babies. Yes, dear, we must use it for kids. So if your baby is like an infant and is at home, no. But after 1.5, 2, when they start going out in the sun, please use a good sunscreen. Use an organic one. Moms and Co has a lovely organic sunscreen. Sun Chroma Nano is specially designed for kids. There are many others depending on your baby's skin type. Again, half an hour before, especially if they are going for a swim or you're taking them into a pool or for a whole day out, you must use a sunscreen for children. Start them early so it becomes a habit, and then they don't need to remember. It's a second nature for them to apply the sunscreen. Now, which moisturizer is good for normal skin? Again, normal skin is what they say, it's a myth, because what you feel is normal, by moisturizing you might start breaking out, or you feel like it might go the other way. So it's very important, start with something as mild as aloe vera and take it from there. If you go to a dermatologist, of course, we can actually give you an entire skincare regime after checking your skin. Because every skin is so different, even a mother and a daughter have got completely different skins. And if we use the right product, maybe like how we visit our dentist once a year to check if our teeth are doing okay. If we do visit the dermat once a year, we can check, because at this age especially, what happens, the hormones are changing so rapidly that my skin 1 year back and my skin today, it's so different. So it's always good to revise and to just check that we are using the right products. So somebody's asked me minimum time gap between two skin cleanses. If you mean just cleansing your skin, you do it once in the morning, you do it once at night. If you're talking about peels or cleanups of medifacials that we do at our clinic, it's around 2 weeks is the minimum time we give between two. Some patients come once in a month, some once in 2 months. It all depends on what they require. Our retinol based products. So it's not like retinol based products are necessary for anti-aging, but yes, they are remarkable. They work like magic. So why not? If of course you need it. Maybe if you're just in your early 30s, we can just start off with a vitamin C, and then slowly, as we feel like the small changes in the skin are starting to tell tales, they're starting to come out of the dark, then we can start using a retinol, maybe even just twice a week, so that we can prep our skin and get it ready, and then slowly we can increase it as the time goes. But of course, a dermatologist, if he sees your skin, if I see your skin personally, we can guide you much better as to retinols, because there are different potencies in retinols. You need to really see that what you need and what will suit you and whether you need it at all. It's not, of course, like it's not a rule that every skin needs retinol. Any other question? So somebody's asked me about glutathione and collagen powders and all. So yes, glutathione does work really well. The whole purpose of glutathione is to brighten your skin. So it's not to make you fair. Glutathione cannot make you fair. No one can. It's the skin color we've been blessed with. But yes, glutathione can brighten your complexion. So some of us really feel that, our skin has grown dull over the years with all the staying up all night, not looking after ourselves. So glutathione can give you a boost. There are creams, oral glutathione preparations are available. We have even injectable glutathiones. So we can use all of them to just brighten your skin a little, whatever your complexion, to make you look glowing. Collagen is again an anti-aging medicine. You get powders, you get collagen tablets, no harm. It's natural. You could use it. It is like an anti-aging. It again depends what's your age and whether you need it. So I think I've answered most of the questions. Again, somebody's asked me whether it's necessary to take vitamin C along. Kavita's asked vitamin C along with glutathione. So the thing is, it works better. The absorption is more. So that is why most of the times when I prescribe glutathione to my patients, we give them vitamin C complementary with it. So we dispense the glutathione tablets with the vitamin C along with it, 1000 mg, so that the patients remember and take it, because it does increase twofolds the effect of the glutathione. And why not? Vitamin C is good for even immunity building, so there's no harm in taking it. My kids drink vitamin C now to save themselves from corona. So for us, it's really good. No issue at all. So glutathione can be taken over the counter, but I would not recommend it because you'll not know what potency you need. There are so many combinations. Some say 1,000, some say 500, 600. Some have a larger number, but the absorption is not the same. So if your dermat does recommend, they can tell you how to take the tablet. Some people need 2 a day, some need 1 a day. So there are few things which you need a head start, and then after that, of course, in some time you are all so clever that you all would be able to do it yourselves. But initially, I would consult a dermatologist before starting. What is the best morning routine? See, it's again different for different skin types, whether you have an oily skin, whether you have a dry skin, how old your child is, how much time you have on hand, because there's so much we can do. We can keep layering our skin. There are dermats who do 14-step regimes, but then I'm sure we've got all the time in the world. For us, it's a simple thing: cleanse, tone, and you can either moisturize, or if you have an oily skin, just apply a sunscreen and you're good to go in the morning. There are also some amazing 3-in-1 products which I really like. So it's got like a vitamin C, a sunscreen, and a moisturizer in it. Bioderma has a lovely one which I always tell my patients to use. So that works very well, and it cuts our time, because we might start a big regime, but we are not consistent. And if we are not consistent with something, might as well we not do it, because then it doesn't work. So Anchita's asking for a oily skin for a 1-year-old. Okay, dear, I was telling you for adults. If you're asking me for a baby, then a baby's regime is very simple. You just give 1 bath, not 2. Overbathing the child is not necessary. It'll dry out the skin. 1 bath a day with lukewarm water. You can put a little oil or little malai while bathing the child, if the child is not breaking out into any kind of heat rash or malaria or any of that, because oil doesn't suit all our babies. Times have changed, we need to change with it. After this, you bathe with a good soap, anything, Moms & Co, Mustela, Sebamed, Burt's Bees, whatever suits you. Don't use too much soap again. It's not necessary that the baby is covered with lather. Just a drop is enough. And then you can apply a nice lotion and a face cream, a separate face cream for your baby. This again, all this I'm talking only about babies with normal skin. And post that, in the night you can give a nice sponge to the baby. There's nothing else needed. So Anchita is saying that though she's using a good hair conditioner and shampoo, her hair fall hasn't reduced. So it's not about the shampoo and the conditioner, really, dear. It's not. A shampoo is, it depends how much you're using, and L'Oreal is a decent brand. The whole thing is that you need to check your levels. You need to check your vitamin D3, your B12, your iron, your hemoglobin. Are they low? Are you having any kind of deficiencies? Did you get a fever in the recent time? And your baby is only 1 year, sometimes till 1.5 years. The postpartum hair loss doesn't leave us. So you need to hang in, but you can see a dermat. We can help you out, check your levels, supplement you with what you need. Also, how you're using the oil, conditioner not to be applied in the roots, only in the tips. Take care of all this and wait it out. And yeah, Bioderma has a white objective fluid. So there are many other products. I'm just naming few from the top of my head which I like. Not endorsing anything. Because all brands are same for us, as long as they are hypoallergenic, safe, and well received by our patients. So that's the main thing. Alright, so I think I have tried to answer maximum questions. If there is anything else. Yeah, Sanchita, I've told you about the child and you now. So I hope that's good. If there's anything else, you can always contact us at my page is at Elegance. You can follow me there for skin tips. Also, we'll be sharing my number for teleconsults, since we are in this time of corona. If you don't want to step out, then I would be happy to do a voice call, a video call, help you out for yourself or your child. I think there is another question. So, Rashmi says that paraben free shampoos don't help cleaner hair. So, it depends. Like, I'll not name the brands, but yeah, there are some brand shampoos which you feel your hair is oily and sticky even after you're done. And unfortunately, these are the ones that they're trying so hard to oversell us at the salons where they do straighten our hair or they color our hair. Again, you can straighten or color your hair when you're lactating, no harm at all. Not pregnant, but when you're breastfeeding, you can go ahead and look your best. So those some of those shampoos don't clean your hair 100%, but the Biotop Professionals that I told you about, I've used it myself for many years and I'm really happy. It actually even lathers and it doesn't leave that smell of that cystine shampoo which we don't like. So I even recommend it to all my patients. They've really liked it. And another thing, we have this in India, we have this concept of jhag, of lather. We feel something is not clean until we see that. It's not necessary that it lathers that much. You'll just feel when you touch your hair that each hair is, dry and separate. That's good enough. So that's what. Now about hair straightening and smoothing. While ideally putting any kind of chemicals on your hair is bad, but we live in a world where appearance is everything, and not everyone is blessed with poker straight hair or very manageable curls. Both are beautiful, but when you're stuck in the middle with the frizzy lion's mane and then with the humidity up and down and the pollution, sometimes you need to do some things to feel and look your best. So go ahead. I would recommend the cystine treatment over anything else for hair straightening because it's actually adding protein to your hair and not stripping your hair of anything. Most severe treatments like rebonding or even the extenso cause a lot of hair fall post that. So the good is for little, the loss is too high. So a cystine done well from a good parlor lasts you well enough, and even after the cystine actually wears off, if you look after your hair well at home, you can manage for many more months. So I'm okay with the hair smoothing. You can use good hair masks at home after that to maintain your hair and also look after your scalp with good oils, not put for too long, for a short period of time, so that you don't suffer too much for the straightening and the coloring. Anything else? I guess I'll sign off then. We'll be sharing our number with you if you'd like to call me for any more queries. I would like to thank Smriti and all the admins for calling me here to talk to you all. I would also like to specially mention Manjari. She's not still active, not too active now on the group maybe, but she's the reason we are on the group, and she has been a great support and always encouraged us to take part. And actually she had thought of this right at the time of Diwali. Then things kept coming up and we couldn't do it, so Smriti followed up, and today I had the chance of sharing this amazing time with all you mummies. And everybody who joined, thank you so much. I know this is slightly a tough time because we might not be looking and feeling our best. I've got 3 kids of my own. My boys are 4.5, my daughter is 1.5. But hang in there, times only get better. Look after your skin, look after your hair to your maximum capacity now, because you'll want to look nice when you take your kids to school, when you're working, when you're doing all that at a later age. So I'd just like to again say thank you, and we are here for you. My clinic is in Bandra West and I'm just a phone call away for anything that you all might need. Thank you, Play. Hope the session was really good for everyone. Bye.